Okay? And the reason why I'm giving this to you is because I believe in getting rid of the Internal Revenue Service, we have to prove that the IRS cannot comply with the law. We already know, no one in America knows, well, especially, I believe, very few people know what I'm telling you right now. And this is embedded in the theory that since you've ever filed a 1040 form before, you can be penalized for not filing one in the future because you filed one in the past. That's the embedded theory, okay? Now, go back to the purple tab, which is the second tab, and now I'm giving you a copy of from 1990 to 2004's 1040 forms. I want to kind of show you a little picture. Have you ever seen a bunch of drawings and then somebody takes them together and they flip it and it looks like a picture show? Well, I'm going to do that for you right here in a way. Now, on this particular form, on the very first purple tab document, it says 1990 1040 U.S. Individual Income Tax Form. And there's an OMB number up there, and it says 1545-0074. That's the same number on the 2005 form. Now, that's going to become very important in about an hour, okay? Very important in about an hour. But just remember, and I'll give you a little teaser, that number, if it's valid, can only be good for 1 or 3 years. And you're going to see that on the application form here in just a minute because it's attached in the back. The application to get the approval for this number. And what the government does in the application is admit to the Office of Management and Budget that they can't comply with the laws. They admit it. But because no one looked close enough, they were all being subject to penalties. And as long as they were being subject to penalties, i.e. getting away with things that they shouldn't get away with, they're going to keep doing it. A congressman will accept bribes until he's caught on camera, and then he'll plead guilty. That's what will happen. So now you flip to the next, stop, I'm sorry. On this 1990 form, now I want you to look at the bottom of the page. Do you see any footnote at the bottom of the page? Oh, they want you to really realize this one. Go back up there to the OMB number and then drop down about an inch. Look what they wrote. They put this up here. For Privacy Act, Paperwork Reduction Act, see instructions. Oh, there's instructions. They didn't use that in 05. They just did see page 78. Now, from 1990 to 2005, that Privacy Act notice dropped from the up there below your Social Security number right next to your wife, pretty important, down to the bottom of footnote means we don't want you to see it. All right? And I use this many times and I'll use it again. But the tax law is like a speed limit sign. But instead of having a speed limit that you can't exceed or you're going to pay a tax, a ticket, a fine, they put a question mark on the sign and in a little fine detail at the bottom it says, see Highway Patrolman for more details. That is exactly how they've written the tax laws. Now go to the next page, or the 2 pages, every 2 pages. I tried to give you a copy of the full form. Now, the second page is very important on every one of these documents, but you're not going to learn about the second page just yet. And the reason why we're going to make such a big deal about that second page is because there are changes every year on that second page that have to be approved by the Office of Management and Budget. Well, in order to be approved by the Office of Management and Budget, they have to be disclosed to the Office of Management and Budget. So if the requesting agency is not disclosing it, then the Office of Management and Budget, hear no evil, see no evil. And then just keep right on going. And all this has to do with the power. The government cannot punish you unless they earn the power. They got to earn it. They just don't get it. You got to do something and they got to do something. And if they don't do what they're doing, or what they're supposed to do, then they can't punish you, and it doesn't matter what you do. And I just read you page 78 where it says you do not have to supply that information. Now, the actual law says no person shall be penalized. No penalty shall apply, is what the law says. They don't want to tell you that. They want to tell you, you don't have to give us the information unless we got a valid OMB number. You go to the 91 form. Look at that on the 91 form, 1545-0074. Go 2 more pages over. For the 92 form, look at that again, 1545-0074. Wow, just every year you're just going to keep right on going. 93, 1545-0074. 94, 15, and all this will be at penaltyprotesters.org and com. you will be able to download each one of these documents that are taken off of IRS.gov website. Everything that you see here, except for the things they didn't want you to see in the very back of this document that I have in your hand, came from IRS.gov. So you keep going all the way through, and you'll never find one 1040 form that ever changes from 1545-0074. Now, just on soundbite right now, taking a poll, if the law said that the OMB approval number can only be good for 1 or 3 years, just on the surface, if it had appeared for 15 years, wouldn't it look like there's something wrong with that number? Just a taste smell test? A little bit wrong with it? Well, there's a lot wrong with it. It's so wrong, in fact, you're getting ready to see how blatant they've just got in 2005. Keep on going through there all the way till you get to the green tab, and you're going to see that on 2004, on 2004's 1040 form, it's 1545-0074. All the ones in between, and in fact, just so you know, from 1982's form, which was actually a 1981 form that didn't exist until after December 31st, 1981, because it would be a 1982 form. That's the first form. It had the same OMB number on it. It goes all the way back for 23 years, same number. Okay? Now, we've already gone through the instruction, the green tab. Just for a reminder, it does say you're not required to provide the information. And really, what it should say is, no person can be penalized for failure to supply the information if the information request form does not contain a valid or display a valid OMB control number. That's what it should say. That's a violation of the Paperwork Reduction Act. And guess where it's supposed to say it? On the form that's requesting the information, not on the instruction booklet. And that's why in 2005 they don't want to call it an instruction booklet. There became a big debate in the late 80s and early 90s about whether OMB had to have OMB approval on instructions. And the courts unanimously ruled that instructions were not subject to the Paperwork Reduction Act. But yet now you can see, without the instructions, they've got nothing. Now, when you get past the next tab that you want to go into, now for those of you looking on the website, the next thing you want to go to is tab onto the 1040A form for 2005. And if you'll notice, the 1040A form for 2005 has OMB number 1545-0074. And it looks like, oh my gosh, they're using that same number on every form. But that's not true up until 2005. And that truth is then told. If you look at the next form, the yellow tab, that's the 1040EZ form for 2005, 1545-0074. Now, you go to the red tab, the 1040ES form for 2006, 1545-0074 on the top right. And I try to give complete documents to the court other than the instruction booklet because it was voluminous and the only relevant page was page 78. And then notice that for foreign earned income, the purple tab, foreign earned income, a 2555 for those of you on the internet, has OMB number 1545-0074. Now, the problem, and I didn't attach these forms in this complaint because I didn't have to, but on the website, you can go and look at the 2004 1040A, and you'll find that that OMB number was 1545-0085, and it has been 0085 for 23 years backwards. And the 1040EZ form was 1545-0067, except for 2005. From 2004 to 1982,